is one exception, but there's like a huge disclaimer here that I have to give, okay? And what this is that this happens to be controversial. And I know that that's a really weird word to use for organic chemistry, because it's like organic chemistry is like such an old science. Like, how could there be controversy about this? It's like, is this like political? Well, it's not like Republicans think one thing and Democrats think another. It's that some professors tend to be renegades and think their own things versus what the book says, okay? So according to your book, this is actually achiral, okay? So according to your book, this exception here of 1,2-cyclohexane, which I'm going to draw for you, which is actually this right here, okay? According to your book, this is achiral, okay? So it would fit into this rule that we have right there about if it's cis 1,2-cyclohexane, then it would be achiral, okay? But according to some professors, it's actually chiral. And I've seen that at the same university, two professors will say two different things. And it really just depends how they're thinking and how they kind of grew up teaching organic chemistry. So let me show you where the controversy lies so that you guys will understand. It turns out that, remember that cyclohexane doesn't exist in a planar structure. It actually exists as a chair conformation. So what that means is that I'm just going to draw Cis-1, 2-cyclohexane. Okay? If I have two groups facing up like this, okay? It looks like it has a plane of symmetry, right? It looks like it has a perfect plane of symmetry, so this should be achiral. But it turns out that what it really looks like is a chair. So what that means is that if they're both facing cis, and if they're 1, 2 apart from each other, then that means that one of them will always be axial, and one of them will always be equatorial. Remember how to figure this out? Basically, they both want to go to the same face of the ring, so, and they both want to be cis, and that's you 1, 2, so one of them is going to be axial and one of them is going to be equatorial. Is there a plane of symmetry now? Not really. If you draw it like this, there's no plane of symmetry, because if you cut it down the middle, you're going to have two different positions, okay? So the professors who say that it's chiral will go by this argument. We'll say it's chiral because the positions are different. Now the professors that say that it's achiral, which is actually the majority of professors, will point to the fact that this is an equilibrium. So what that means is that even though, sure, one of the chairs is chiral by itself, but it doesn't just exist as one chair. It exists as an equilibrium of two chairs, okay? So what that means is that on average, you always have one axial and one equatorial, and they kind of cancel out. So the professors who say that it's achiral point to this equilibrium, okay? Now what's your job? Your job is, if your professor made a big deal out of this in class, or even if maybe they never talked about it at all, maybe it would be safe to just go to their office hour and just say, hey, prof, what do you think about 1, 2 cis-cyclohexane? Is that chiral or is that achiral? Because the last thing you want is for this to show up on your test and you don't know which one to pick because you don't know, okay? Now, just so you know, either argument is kind of defensible. You could either say, you could defend that it's chiral, you could defend that it's achiral with these two different arguments. But just so you know, the majority in your book and the majority of people rest in the achiral argument. They say that because of this is an equilibrium, then it's achiral overall, even though the structure by itself is chiral. But like I said, I wouldn't be pointing this out unless I had seen professors test the other way and actually say that it's chiral. Okay? So this is going to be kind of up to you guys to just do a little bit of homework with your professor and just say, hey, like, is this chiral or achiral? And then they can let you know, and then you memorize it that way. Are you guys cool with that? Long explanation. Sorry, but I just wanted to give you the heads up. But other than that, if it's not that very special case, we're going to go with these rules right here, which is cis and trans. That's all you need to know. So what I want you guys to do is for test 3, I want you guys to just do these, answer these next 4 questions, and then we'll go ahead and I'll answer them. All right, so go for it.